Let's get started with a review of Arizona real estate law and regulation. Which of the following is a primary responsibility of the Arizona Department of Real Estate? Is it A. Drafting local zoning ordinances, B. Setting national real estate standards, C. Issuing and renewing real estate licenses, or D. Appraising property values for tax purposes? The correct answer is C. Issuing and renewing real estate licenses. The Arizona Department of Real Estate is responsible for licensing real estate professionals, regulating their activities, and enforcing real estate laws in the state. Which action is not within the enforcement authority of the Arizona Department of Real Estate? Is it A. Investigating consumer complaints, B. Prosecuting criminal cases in court, C. Imposing administrative penalties on licensees, or D. Suspending a real estate license for violations? The correct answer is B. Prosecuting criminal cases in court. Why this can be tricky. The department can investigate complaints and impose discipline, but it cannot prosecute criminal cases in court, which is the role of law enforcement or prosecutors. If a licensee violates Arizona real estate law, the Department of Real Estate must always revoke the license immediately, without exception, correct? Is it A. Yes, for any violation, B. Only if the violation involves a contract dispute, C. Yes, but only after a criminal conviction, or D. No, the department has discretion in disciplinary actions? The correct answer is D. No, the department has discretion in disciplinary actions. Why this is tricky. The department has discretion in disciplinary actions and may impose penalties, suspensions, or other remedies. Immediate revocation is not mandatory for every violation. Licensing requirements and license maintenance. Which Arizona agency is responsible for issuing real estate licenses and overseeing license maintenance requirements? Is it A. Arizona Department of Real Estate, B. Arizona Association of Realtors, C. Arizona State Bar Association, or D. Arizona Real Estate Commission? The correct answer is A. Arizona Department of Real Estate. The Arizona Department of Real Estate is the official agency responsible for licensing, regulating, and monitoring real estate professionals in Arizona. It ensures compliance with state laws and regulations regarding licensing and ongoing education. Which of the following is not required to maintain an active Arizona real estate salesperson license? Is it A. Timely renewal of the license, B. Completion of required continuing education hours, C. Maintaining errors and omissions insurance, or D. Payment of renewal fees? The correct answer is C. Maintaining errors and omissions insurance. Why this is tricky. All options sound plausible, but only continuing education, timely renewal, and fee payment are required. Errors and omissions insurance is not mandatory for Arizona real estate salespersons, though it is for some other professions or in other states.
How'd you do on the first 5 questions? Go ahead and subscribe to Birdsy now and turn your progress into exam day confidence. Ready to jump back in? Let's go.
Maria, an Arizona real estate salesperson, forgot to complete her continuing education before her license renewal date. What is the immediate consequence for her license status? Is it A. Her license is automatically revoked, B. Her license becomes inactive until requirements are met, C. She is fined but may continue practicing, or D. She must retake the licensing exam immediately? The correct answer is B. Her license becomes inactive until requirements are met. If a licensee fails to complete continuing education by the renewal date, the license immediately becomes inactive until all requirements are met and the license is reactivated. Commissioner powers, investigations, and penalties. Which of the following is a power granted to the Arizona Real Estate Commissioner under state law? Is it A, adopting rules and regulations for real estate licensees? B, setting commission rates for all real estate transactions? C, representing clients in real estate transactions? Or D, issuing building permits for new construction? The correct answer is A, adopting rules and regulations for real estate licensees. The Arizona Real Estate Commissioner is authorized to adopt rules, investigate complaints, and enforce real estate laws to protect the public interest. These powers are established by Arizona statutes and are fundamental to the Commissioner's regulatory role. Which of the following actions is not within the Arizona Real Estate Commissioner's authority when investigating a licensee? Is it A, subpoenaing witnesses for testimony? B, examining business records of the licensee? C, imposing criminal penalties directly on the licensee? Or D, holding a formal hearing regarding alleged violations? The correct answer is C, imposing criminal penalties directly on the licensee. Why this can be tricky. The Commissioner has broad investigative powers but cannot impose criminal penalties. Criminal prosecution is handled by law enforcement or the courts, not the Commissioner. During a routine audit, the Arizona Real Estate Commissioner discovers that broker Lee failed to maintain transaction records as required by law. What action can the Commissioner take in response to this violation? Is it A, refer the matter directly to the state legislature for review? B, suspend or revoke broker Lee's license after due process? C, award monetary damages to affected clients? Or D, issue a building code violation notice? The correct answer is B, suspend or revoke broker Lee's license after due process. The Commissioner can impose administrative penalties such as fines or license suspension for violations of record-keeping requirements. This authority helps ensure compliance and protects the public. Arizona statutes governing real estate practice. Which Arizona agency is responsible for administering and enforcing real estate licensing laws? Is it A, Arizona Department of Real Estate? B, Arizona Real Estate Association? C, Arizona Board of Realtors? Or D, Arizona Licensing Commission? The correct answer is A, Arizona Department of Real Estate. The Arizona Department of Real Estate is the official agency tasked with overseeing real estate licensing, regulation, and enforcement in the state. It ensures compliance with statutes and protects the public interest. Which of the following is not required for an Arizona real estate salesperson to maintain an active license? Is it A, paying renewal fees on time? B, completing required continuing education? C, sponsoring a new licensee? Or D, updating the department with a change of address? The correct answer is C, sponsoring a new licensee. Why this is tricky. All options seem plausible, but only continuing education, renewal fees, and a current address are required. Sponsoring a new licensee is not a requirement for maintaining an active license. Maria, an Arizona broker, receives earnest money from a buyer on Friday afternoon. According to statute, what must she do with the funds by the next business day? Is it A, return the funds to the buyer immediately? B, deposit the funds into a trust or escrow account? C, hold the funds until the contract is accepted? Or D, transfer the funds to the seller's personal account? The correct answer is B, deposit the funds into a trust or escrow account. Arizona law requires brokers to promptly deposit earnest money into a trust account or escrow account by the next business day after receipt to protect client funds.
If you want more than just rapid-fire questions, head over to Birdsy.ai. You can take unlimited practice exams and get instant help from your personal AI study partner. It's like having a tutor 24/7. Try it free. You'll find a link in the description.
Federal Real Estate Law. Fair Housing Act protected classes and prohibited practices. Which of the following is a protected class under the Federal Fair Housing Act? Is it A, race, B, employment status, C, credit score, or D, citizenship status? The correct answer is A, race. Race is one of the original protected classes under the Federal Fair Housing Act, along with color, religion, and national origin. The act was later amended to include sex, familial status, and disability. Which of the following is not prohibited by the Fair Housing Act when renting a dwelling? Is it A, refusing to rent to someone because of their religion? B, advertising that a property is not suitable for families with children? C, charging a higher deposit to tenants with disabilities? Or D, requiring all tenants to meet a minimum income standard? The correct answer is D, requiring all tenants to meet a minimum income standard. Why this is tricky? The Fair Housing Act does not prohibit landlords from requiring all tenants to meet a minimum income standard, as long as it is applied equally and not used to discriminate against a protected class. Maria, a landlord, tells a prospective tenant with a service animal that pets are not allowed and refuses to make an exception. Is this action permitted under the Fair Housing Act? Is it A, yes, because service animals are considered pets? B, yes, if the building has a strict no-pet policy for all tenants? C, no, because reasonable accommodation for service animals is required? Or D, no, unless the tenant provides medical records to prove the disability? The correct answer is C, no, because reasonable accommodation for service animals is required. The Fair Housing Act requires landlords to make reasonable accommodations for tenants with disabilities, including allowing service animals, even if there is a no-pet policy. Americans with Disabilities Act requirements. Which of the following is a requirement under the Americans with Disabilities Act for newly constructed commercial properties? B, only employee workspaces must be accessible. C, accessibility is required only if requested by a tenant. Or D, no accessibility requirements apply to new construction. The correct answer is A, all public areas must be accessible to individuals with disabilities. The ADA requires that newly constructed commercial properties be accessible to individuals with disabilities, including features such as accessible entrances, restrooms, and routes throughout the building. Which statement about the Americans with Disabilities Act and existing buildings is not true? Is it A, barrier removal is required when it is readily achievable? B, alterations to existing buildings must comply with ADA standards? C, all existing buildings must be fully accessible regardless of cost or feasibility? Or D, some exemptions exist for buildings where changes are not readily achievable? The correct answer is C, all existing buildings must be fully accessible regardless of cost or feasibility. Why this can be tricky? The ADA requires that existing buildings remove barriers when it is readily achievable, but it does not require all existing buildings to be fully accessible if doing so is not feasible. A property manager is renovating a shopping center and plans to replace the main entrance doors. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, what must the manager ensure in this renovation? Is it A, only cosmetic changes are required? B, the new entrance must be accessible to individuals with disabilities? C, no changes are needed if the building is over 50 years old? Or D, accessibility is required only for restrooms, not entrances? The correct answer is B. The new entrance must be accessible to individuals with disabilities. When renovating, the ADA requires that the altered area, such as the main entrance, be made accessible to individuals with disabilities, including features like automatic doors or ramps if needed. Truth in Lending Act and RESPA terminology. What is the primary purpose of the Truth in Lending Act in real estate transactions? Is it A, to ensure borrowers receive clear disclosures about loan terms and costs? B, to regulate real estate agent licensing requirements? C, to set maximum interest rates for all mortgage loans? Or D, to determine property tax assessments? The correct answer is A, to ensure borrowers receive clear disclosures about loan terms and costs. The Truth in Lending Act is designed to promote informed use of consumer credit by requiring disclosures about terms and costs, helping consumers compare loan offers and understand their obligations. Which of the following is not required to be disclosed under the Truth in Lending Act for a closed-end mortgage loan? Is it A, the annual percentage rate, B, the total finance charge, C, the annual property tax amount, or D, the total amount financed? The correct answer is C, the annual property tax amount. Why this is tricky. All options seem related to loan disclosures, but only the annual property tax amount is not a required TILA disclosure. TILA focuses on loan terms, costs, and APR, not property taxes. Maria is buying her first home and receives a loan estimate from her lender. What federal law requires the lender to provide this document within 3 business days of her application? Is it A, Truth in Lending Act, B, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, C, Fair Housing Act, or D, Equal Credit Opportunity Act? The correct answer is B, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. The Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, requires lenders to provide a loan estimate within 3 business days to help borrowers understand loan terms and settlement costs early in the process. Other federal consumer protection laws. Which federal law requires lenders to provide borrowers with a loan estimate and closing disclosure for most residential mortgage transactions? Is it A, TILA RESPA, B, Fair Housing Act, C, Equal Credit Opportunity Act, or D, Home Mortgage Disclosure Act? The correct answer is A, TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosure Rule. The TILA RESPA Integrated Disclosure TRID rule under the Truth in Lending Act and the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act requires lenders to provide these disclosures to help consumers understand loan terms and closing costs. Which of the following is not protected under the Federal Fair Housing Act? Is it A, religion, B, age, C, national origin, or D, disability? The correct answer is B, age. Why this can be tricky. The Fair Housing Act covers race, color, religion, sex, national origin, familial status, and disability, but it does not include age as a protected class, which is a common misconception. Under the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, which of the following is always permitted for a real estate agent to receive from a title company? Is it A, a gift card for each referral, B, a percentage of the title insurance premium, C, a fee for actual settlement services performed, or D, tickets to a sporting event for sending clients? The correct answer is C, a fee for actual settlement services performed. Why this is tricky. RESPA prohibits kickbacks and unearned fees. Only payment for actual services performed is allowed, not gifts or referral fees, which are common traps for test takers. Property ownership and land use. Forms of real property ownership. Which form of real property ownership allows two or more people to own property with the right of survivorship? Is it A, tenancy in common, B, joint tenancy, C, sole ownership, or D, community property? The correct answer is B, joint tenancy. Joint tenancy allows two or more people to own property together with the right of survivorship, meaning if one owner dies, their interest passes automatically to the surviving owner or owners. Which of the following is not a characteristic of tenancy in common? Is it A, owners may have unequal shares, B, each owner can transfer their share independently, C, right of survivorship applies to all owners, or D, ownership can be willed to heirs? The correct answer is C, right of survivorship applies to all owners. Why this can be tricky? Tenancy in common allows unequal interests and no right of survivorship, but each owner can sell or will their share. Survivorship is not a feature of tenancy in common, which can be confused with joint tenancy. Maria and Tom, who are not married, purchase a home together and want their shares to pass to their heirs rather than each other if one dies. Which form of ownership should they choose? Is it A, tenancy in common, B, joint tenancy, C, community property, or D, sole ownership? The correct answer is A, tenancy in common. Tenancy in common allows co-owners to pass their shares to heirs, not automatically to the surviving co-owner, which fits Maria and Tom's wishes. Land descriptions and boundaries. Which method of land description uses distances, directions, and a point of beginning to define property boundaries? Is it A, meets and bounds, B, lot and block, C, government survey, or D, rectangular survey? The correct answer is A, meets and bounds. The meets and bounds method describes land by specifying distances and directions from a starting point, known as the point of beginning, making it a common method for irregularly shaped parcels. Which of the following is not typically included in a legal land description? Is it A, meets and bounds description, B, lot and block number from a recorded plat, C, street address, or D, section, township, and range? The correct answer is C, street address. Why this is tricky? All options may seem related to property, but only the street address is not a legal method of describing land for conveyance or recording purposes. A property described as the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 10 contains how many acres? Is it A, 160 acres, B, 80 acres, C, 20 acres, or D, 40 acres? The correct answer is D, 40 acres. Why this can be tricky? The description requires understanding that each quarter section is 160 acres, and a quarter of a quarter is 40 acres. Easements, encroachments, and restrictions. What is the primary purpose of an easement appurtenant? Is it A, to benefit a neighboring property owner, B, to restrict all future development, C, to grant mineral rights, or D, to allow temporary occupancy? The correct answer is A, to benefit a neighboring property owner. An easement appurtenant allows the owner of one parcel to use a portion of a neighboring parcel for a specific purpose, such as access. It benefits the dominant tenement and runs with the land, transferring to future owners. Which of the following is least likely to terminate an easement by prescription? Is it A, agreement between the parties, B, merger of the dominant and servient estates, C, occasional non-use by the holder, Or D. A court order of abandonment. The correct answer is C. Occasional non-use by the holder. Why this can be tricky. Prescription involves continuous, open, and notorious use over time. Non-use alone does not usually terminate a prescriptive easement unless it is for the statutory period, which is often misunderstood. Maria discovers that her neighbor's new fence extends 2 feet onto her property and asks what legal term describes this situation. Is it A. Easement by necessity, B. Encroachment, C. Restrictive covenant, or D. License? The correct answer is B. Encroachment. This scenario describes an encroachment, which is when a structure intrudes onto another person's land. Encroachments can lead to disputes and may require legal action to resolve. Government rights and land use controls. Which government power allows the state to take private property for public use with just compensation? Is it A. Eminent domain, B. Police power, C. Escheat, or D. Taxation? The correct answer is A. Eminent domain. The power of eminent domain allows the government to take private property for public use, provided that the owner receives just compensation. This is a fundamental government right in land use control. Which of the following is not an example of the government's police power over land use? Is it A. Zoning ordinances, B. Building codes, C. Condemnation, or D. Environmental regulations? The correct answer is C. Condemnation. Why this is tricky. All options except condemnation involve regulation of land use. Condemnation is the process of taking property under eminent domain, not a regulatory action under police power. A property owner claims that government land use controls are invalid because they reduce the value of her land. Is this claim correct? Is it A. Yes, any reduction in value makes controls invalid, B. No, controls are valid unless they deprive all reasonable use, C. Yes, if the owner disagrees with the control, or D. No, unless the property is used for agriculture? The correct answer is B. No, controls are valid unless they deprive all reasonable use. Why this may be tricky. Government land use controls, such as zoning, are valid exercises of police power, even if they reduce property value, as long as they do not constitute a taking requiring compensation. Contracts. Elements of a valid contract. Which of the following is always required for a contract to be considered legally valid? Is it A. Mutual consent, B. A written document, C. A witness signature, or D. A notary seal? The correct answer is A. Mutual consent. A contract must have mutual consent, lawful object, competent parties, and consideration to be valid. Without these elements, a contract cannot be enforced by law. Which element is not necessary for a contract to be valid under general contract law? Is it A. Consideration, B. Competent parties, C. A specific closing date, or D. Lawful object? The correct answer is C. A specific closing date. Why this is tricky. All options seem important, but only consideration, lawful object, and competent parties are essential. A specific closing date is not required for a contract's validity unless the contract type demands it. Maria, age 17, signs a contract to buy a car from a dealership. Is this contract enforceable against Maria? Is it A. Yes, because she agreed to the terms, B. No, because she is a minor, C. Yes, if the contract is for a necessity. Or D. No, unless the dealership is unaware of her age. The correct answer is B. No, because she is a minor. A minor generally lacks legal capacity to contract, so the contract is not enforceable against Maria, though she may choose to honor it or disaffirm it before reaching adulthood. Arizona purchase contract terminology. In the Arizona purchase contract, what is the primary purpose of the buyer contingency section? Is it A, to allow the buyer to cancel if specific conditions are not met? B, to guarantee the seller receives earnest money? C, to set the closing date? Or D, to determine the property's appraised value? The correct answer is A, to allow the buyer to cancel if specific conditions are not met. The buyer contingency section allows the buyer to cancel or renegotiate the contract if certain conditions, such as financing or inspections, are not met. This protects the buyer from being obligated to purchase under unfavorable circumstances. Which statement about the Arizona purchase contract's earnest money provision is not accurate? Is it A, earnest money is typically held by an escrow agent? B, earnest money may be forfeited if the buyer defaults? C, earnest money is always refunded to the buyer if the contract is canceled? Or D, the contract specifies how earnest money disputes are resolved? The correct answer is C, earnest money is always refunded to the buyer if the contract is canceled. Why this can be tricky. The earnest money provision outlines how funds are handled, but it does not guarantee the buyer will always get the money back. Forfeiture can occur if the buyer defaults, so assuming a refund is automatic is incorrect. If a seller in Arizona accepts an offer but fails to sign the purchase contract, which of the following best describes the contract status? Is it A, the contract is fully enforceable? B, there is no binding contract until both parties have signed? C, the buyer is obligated to proceed, but the seller is not? Or D, the contract is valid if witnessed by a third party? The correct answer is B, there is no binding contract until both parties have signed. Why this is tricky. A contract requires signatures from both parties to be binding. Verbal acceptance or partial execution does not create an enforceable contract under Arizona law.
Have you noticed the code in the bottom corner? The next time you're stumped, take that code to birdsy.ai. You'll get immediate help, complimentary study sessions, and access to hundreds of additional questions. It's the best tool to help you pass with confidence.
Contract performance, breach, and remedies. What is the primary legal remedy available when one party fails to perform their contractual obligations? Is it A, specific performance? B, monetary damages? C, rescission? Or D, restitution? The correct answer is B, monetary damages. The primary legal remedy for breach of contract is an award of monetary damages intended to compensate the non-breaching party for losses suffered due to the breach. Which of the following statements about anticipatory breach is not correct? Is it A, anticipatory breach occurs when a party indicates they will not perform before performance is due? B, the non-breaching party may immediately seek remedies upon anticipatory breach? C, the non-breaching party must always wait until the time of performance before acting? Or D, anticipatory breach can be shown by words or conduct? The correct answer is C, the non-breaching party must always wait until the time of performance before acting. Why this can be tricky. The incorrect statement is that the non-breaching party must always wait until the time of performance. In fact, the non-breaching party may treat the contract as breached immediately upon anticipatory repudiation. If a contract contains a liquidated damages clause that is unreasonably high, what is the likely result? Is it A, the clause will not be enforced by the court? B, the clause will always be enforced as written? C, the non-breaching party must accept a lower amount? Or D, the breaching party can choose to perform or pay the amount? The correct answer is A. The clause will not be enforced by the court. Why this is tricky? Many assume any agreed amount is enforceable, but courts will not enforce a liquidated damages clause that is a penalty rather than a reasonable estimate of actual damages. Disclosure and cancellation requirements. Which document must be provided to a buyer to fulfill the standard disclosure requirement before a residential property sale contract is enforceable? Is it A, deed of trust? B, property disclosure statement? Title insurance policy? Or D, home warranty agreement? The correct answer is B, property disclosure statement. A seller is typically required to provide a written property disclosure statement before the contract becomes enforceable. This ensures the buyer is informed about known material defects or issues affecting the property. Which of the following is not typically required to be disclosed to a buyer under standard contract disclosure laws? Is it A, known structural defects? B, presence of lead-based paint? C, seller's personal reasons for moving? Or D, past flooding issues? The correct answer is C, seller's personal reasons for moving. Why this is tricky? The question asks for what is not required, and all options may seem important. However, personal reasons for selling are generally not required to be disclosed, while material defects and environmental hazards are. If a buyer receives the required disclosure documents after signing the contract, which of the following statements is always true regarding the buyer's right to cancel? Is it A, the buyer may have a right to cancel within a statutory period after receiving disclosures? B, the buyer loses all rights to cancel once the contract is signed? C, the seller can refuse cancellation if the buyer has already paid earnest money? Or D, the contract is automatically void if disclosures are late? The correct answer is A, the buyer may have a right to cancel within a statutory period after receiving disclosures. Why this can be tricky? The timing of disclosure delivery affects cancellation rights. If disclosures are provided late, buyers are typically granted a specific period to cancel, regardless of whether they have already signed the contract. Agency relationships. Types of agency and representation. Which type of agency relationship is created when a real estate agent is authorized to act on behalf of both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction? Is it A, single agency? B, designated agency? C, dual agency? Or D, subagency? The correct answer is C, dual agency. A dual agency relationship exists when an agent represents both parties in the same transaction. This arrangement requires full disclosure and consent from both the buyer and the seller, as it can create potential conflicts of interest. Which of the following is not a form of agency representation recognized in most real estate transactions? Is it A, buyer agency? B, implied contract agency? C, dual agency? Or D, subagency? The correct answer is B, implied contract agency. Why this is tricky? The distractors are all legitimate agency types except for implied contract agency, which is not a recognized form of agency representation. Implied agency exists, but implied contract agency is not a standard term in real estate practice. Maria, A licensed real estate agent is assigned by her broker to exclusively represent a buyer in a transaction, while another agent from the same office represents the seller. What type of agency is this? Is it A, dual agency, B, single agency, C, subagency, or D, designated agency? The correct answer is D, designated agency. This is an example of designated agency, where different agents in the same brokerage represent opposing clients in the same transaction. Each agent owes full fiduciary duties to their respective client, reducing conflicts of interest within the brokerage. Duties owed to clients and customers. Which duty is owed by an agent to both clients and customers in a real estate transaction? Is it A, honesty and fair dealing, B, loyalty, C, obedience to all instructions, or D, full confidentiality forever? The correct answer is A, honesty and fair dealing. Agents owe the duty of honesty and fair dealing to both clients and customers, regardless of agency relationship. Other duties, such as loyalty and confidentiality, are owed only to clients. Which of the following is not a fiduciary duty owed by an agent to their client? Is it A, loyalty, B, confidentiality, or D, obedience? The correct answer is C, providing financing. Why this is tricky? The term fiduciary duty refers to obligations like loyalty, obedience, and confidentiality. Providing financing is a service, not a fiduciary duty, so it is the correct answer here. An agent must always disclose all known material facts to the client, even if the client asks them not to. Is this statement true or false? Is it A, true, B, false, C, only if the client is a seller, or D, only if the agent is a dual agent? The correct answer is B, false. Why this can be tricky? While agents must disclose material facts to all parties, they cannot withhold such information at a client's request. However, the question asks about disclosure to the client, not to others, so the statement is false. Arizona Agency Disclosure Requirements. When must an Arizona real estate agent provide the agency disclosure form to a prospective client? Is it A, at the closing of the transaction, B, before confidential information is disclosed or a contract is signed, C, only after an offer is accepted, or D, only if the client requests it? The correct answer is B, before confidential information is disclosed or a contract is signed. Arizona law requires agents to disclose their agency relationship as soon as possible and always before any confidential information is shared or a contract is signed. This ensures clients understand who represents whom in a transaction. Which of the following statements about dual agency disclosure in Arizona is not true? Is it A, dual agency requires disclosure to both parties, B, both parties must agree to dual agency in writing, C, a general agency disclosure form is sufficient for dual agency consent, or D, dual agency means the agent represents both buyer and seller in the same transaction? The correct answer is C, a general agency disclosure form is sufficient for dual agency consent. Why this can be tricky? All options sound plausible, but Arizona law specifically requires written consent from both parties for dual agency, not just verbal acknowledgement or a general disclosure. Maria, an Arizona licensee, is showing a property to Tom, who has not signed any agency agreement. What must Maria disclose to Tom before discussing his financial qualifications? Is it A, she can wait until Tom makes an offer, B, she only needs to disclose if Tom asks about representation, C, she can disclose after the property tour? Or D. She must disclose her agency relationship before discussing Tom's finances. The correct answer is D. She must disclose her agency relationship before discussing Tom's finances. Maria must disclose her agency relationship before receiving confidential information from Tom, such as his financial qualifications, to comply with Arizona disclosure laws and protect Tom's interests. Termination of agency relationships. Which of the following is a way an agency relationship can be terminated by operation of law? Is it A. Death of the principal, B. Mutual agreement between parties, C. Agent's withdrawal with notice, or D. Principal's dissatisfaction with the agent? The correct answer is A. Death of the principal. Agency relationships can be terminated by operation of law through events such as death or incapacity of either party, destruction of the subject matter, or bankruptcy. These do not require action by either the principal or agent. Which statement about the termination of agency relationships is not correct? Is it A. An agency can be terminated by mutual consent, B. Bankruptcy of the principal may terminate the agency, C. Termination always requires written notice, or D. The subject matter's destruction can end the agency? The correct answer is C. Termination always requires written notice. Why this can be tricky? The question uses a negative and all options seem plausible. Agency relationships do not always require written notice for termination. Oral notice or actions may suffice depending on the circumstances. After a house is destroyed by fire, the listing agent calls the seller to discuss next steps. Is the agency relationship still in effect? Is it A. Yes, until the listing agreement expires, B. No, the agency relationship ended when the house was destroyed, C. Yes, unless the agent gives written notice, or D. No, but only if the seller requests termination? The correct answer is B. No, the agency relationship ended when the house was destroyed. The destruction of the property that is the subject of the agency automatically terminates the agency relationship, so the agent no longer represents the seller regarding that property. Real estate finance. Types of loans and lending terminology. Which type of loan is most commonly used for purchasing a single-family home for owner occupancy? Is it A. Conventional loan, B. Construction loan, C. Bridge loan, or D. Reverse mortgage? The correct answer is A. Conventional loan. A conventional loan is the most common type used for purchasing single-family homes, especially by buyers intending to live in the property. These loans are not insured or guaranteed by the government. Which of the following loan types is always insured by a government agency? Is it A. Conventional loan, B. VA loan, C. FHA loan, or D. Jumbo loan? The correct answer is C. FHA loan. Why this can be tricky? Not all government-related loans are insured. Only FHA loans are always insured by a government agency, while VA loans are guaranteed, not insured, and conventional loans are neither insured nor guaranteed by the government. Which statement about adjustable rate mortgages is not correct? Is it A. The interest rate can change periodically, B. There is often an initial fixed rate period, C. Rate adjustments are based on a benchmark index, or D. The interest rate remains the same for the life of the loan? The correct answer is D. The interest rate remains the same for the life of the loan. Why this may be tricky? The distractors are all true. but the last option is false. Adjustable rate mortgages do not have a fixed interest rate for the entire loan term. Their rates can change after an initial period. Mortgage and deed of trust concepts. What is the primary purpose of a deed of trust in real estate finance? Is it A, to transfer ownership of property, B, to secure a loan with real property, C, to record the sale price of a property, or to establish property boundaries? The correct answer is B, to secure a loan with real property. A deed of trust is used to secure a loan with real property by transferring legal title to a trustee until the loan is repaid. This provides security for the lender in case the borrower defaults. Which party in a mortgage agreement holds the legal title to the property until the loan is fully repaid? Is it A, the lender, B, the trustee, C, the borrower, or D, the escrow agent? The correct answer is C, the borrower. Why this can be tricky? In a mortgage, the borrower retains legal title while the lender holds a lien. In a deed of trust, the trustee holds legal title. The distinction between these instruments can confuse test takers. Maria purchases a home using a deed of trust, and after defaulting on her loan, the trustee initiates a non-judicial foreclosure. What legal process allows this to happen? Is it A, power of sale clause, B, acceleration clause, C, due on sale clause, or D, defeasance clause? The correct answer is A, power of sale clause. A deed of trust typically includes a power of sale clause, which allows the trustee to foreclose without court action if the borrower defaults, enabling a non-judicial foreclosure process. Financing instruments and clauses. Which clause in a mortgage allows the lender to demand full repayment if the borrower sells the property without the lender's consent? Is it A, due on sale clause, B, prepayment penalty clause, C, acceleration clause, or D, defeasance clause? The correct answer is A, due on sale clause. The due on sale clause, also known as an alienation clause, gives the lender the right to require full repayment of the loan if the property is transferred without approval. Which financing instrument is most likely to include a clause that automatically releases portions of the property from the lien as the loan is repaid? Is it A, promissory note, B, blanket mortgage, C, deed of trust, or D, open-end mortgage? The correct answer is B, blanket mortgage. Why this can be tricky? The partial release clause is often found in blanket mortgages, not in standard mortgages or trust deeds, and the term can be confused with other release-related clauses. Maria is selling her home, which has an assumable mortgage, and the buyer wants to take over her loan. What must typically happen for the assumption to be valid? The original borrower must pay off the loan before selling. B, the lender must automatically release the original borrower from liability. C, the lender must approve the buyer and the assumption. Or D, the buyer can assume the loan without notifying the lender. The correct answer is C, the lender must approve the buyer and the assumption. For an assumable mortgage, the lender usually must approve the buyer and the assumption, ensuring the buyer qualifies under the lender's standards before the loan is transferred. Foreclosure and default concepts. What is the primary purpose of a foreclosure process in real estate finance? Is it A, to increase property taxes, B, to allow the lender to recover the loan amount, C, to transfer ownership to the local government, or D, to refinance the existing mortgage? The correct answer is B, to allow the lender to recover the loan amount. Foreclosure is the legal process by which a lender takes control of a property after the borrower defaults on the loan, with the main goal of recovering the outstanding loan balance. Which of the following is not typically a consequence of defaulting on a mortgage loan? Is it A, foreclosure proceedings, B, damage to the borrower's credit score, C, receiving a lower interest rate, or D, possible deficiency judgment against the borrower? The correct answer is C, receiving a lower interest rate. Why this can be tricky? Some options may seem plausible, but only foreclosure, damage to credit, and possible deficiency judgments are direct consequences. Receiving a lower interest rate is not a consequence of default. If a borrower misses one mortgage payment but immediately pays it the following month, which statement is least likely to be true? Is it A, a lender will immediately begin foreclosure proceedings, B, a late fee may be charged to the borrower, C, the missed payment may be reported to credit bureaus if not paid within a certain period, or D, the loan may be considered in default if the payment remains unpaid? The correct answer is A, the lender will immediately begin foreclosure proceedings. Why this is tricky? While some may assume immediate foreclosure, lenders usually allow a grace period or charge a late fee before starting foreclosure proceedings. Valuation and appraisal. Principles of value. Which principle of value states that the value of a property is influenced by the cost of acquiring a similar substitute property in the market? Is it A, principle of conformity, B, principle of substitution, principle of progression, or D, principle of anticipation? The correct answer is B, principle of substitution. The principle of substitution holds that a property's value is set by the cost of acquiring equally desirable substitute. This is a foundational concept in real estate appraisal and is widely used in comparative market analysis. Which principle of value suggests that the value of a property will always increase if it is surrounded by higher value properties? Is it A, principle of regression, B, principle of substitution, C, principle of progression, or D, principle of contribution? The correct answer is C, principle of progression. Why this is tricky? The principle of progression states that a lower value property may increase in value when near higher value properties, but it does not guarantee that value will always increase. The word always makes the statement incorrect. Which of the following is not a recognized principle of value in real estate appraisal? Is it A, principle of conformity, B, principle of anticipation, or D, principle of depreciation? The correct answer is D, principle of depreciation. Why this can be tricky? All options except principle of depreciation are established principles of value. Depreciation is a concept in valuation, but not a principle of value itself. Appraisal approaches and terminology. Which appraisal approach is most commonly used to estimate the value of a single-family residential property? Is it A, sales comparison approach, B, cost approach, C, income approach, or D, gross rent multiplier approach? The correct answer is A, sales comparison approach. The sales comparison approach is most commonly used for single-family residential properties because it relies on recent sales of similar homes to determine value. Which of the following statements about the cost approach is not accurate? Is it A, it is often used for new buildings, B, it considers the value of the land separately from the structure, it ignores depreciation when estimating value, or D, It can be useful for unique properties with few comparables. The correct answer is C. It ignores depreciation when estimating value. Why this can be tricky? The cost approach does not ignore depreciation. It specifically subtracts depreciation from a replacement or reproduction cost to estimate value. If an appraiser uses the income approach for a property that does not generate rental income, which of the following is most likely to occur? Is it A, the value will be higher than market value? B, the value will not be reliable? C, the value will match the cost approach result? Or D, the value will always be lower than the sales comparison approach? The correct answer is B, the value will not be reliable. Why this may be tricky? The income approach is not suitable for properties without rental income, so the resulting value would likely be unreliable or meaningless.
Did you get a different answer? Or maybe you have a question about the exam in general? Drop it in the comments below. We read and answer them personally.
Comparative market analysis concepts. Which of the following best describes the primary purpose of a comparative market analysis in real estate valuation? Is it A, to estimate a property's probable selling price based on similar properties? B, to determine the exact appraised value for tax purposes? C, to set the final listing price required by law? Or D, to calculate the replacement cost of a property? The correct answer is A, to estimate a property's probable selling price based on similar properties. A comparative market analysis is used to estimate a property's probable selling price by comparing it to similar properties that have recently sold, are currently on the market, or were listed but did not sell. Which property would most likely be excluded from a comparative market analysis when valuing a typical single-family home? Is it A, a recently sold home in the same neighborhood? B, a home currently listed for sale nearby? C, a commercial building on the same street? Or D, a home that was withdrawn from the market last month? The correct answer is C, a commercial building on the same street. Why this can be tricky? Some properties may seem similar, but are not comparable due to unique features or circumstances, such as being a foreclosure or a commercial property, which can distort market value estimates. If a comparable property sold with significant seller concessions, how should this affect your comparative market analysis? Is it A, ignore the concessions and use the sale price as is? B, adjust the sale price downward to account for the concessions? C, increase the subject property's value by the amount of the concessions? Or D, exclude the comparable property from the analysis entirely? The correct answer is B, adjust the sale price downward to account for the concessions. Why this is tricky? Seller concessions can artificially inflate the reported sale price, so adjustments must be made to reflect the true market value, not just the contract price. Factors affecting property value. Which of the following is considered a physical factor that can affect the value of real property? Is it A, zoning regulations? B, soil quality? C, interest rates? Or D, tax assessments? The correct answer is B, soil quality. Physical factors such as location, topography, and climate can significantly influence property value, as they affect desirability and usability of the land. Which factor is least likely to directly increase a property's market value? Improvements to the property, a decline in neighborhood crime rates, a rise in local unemployment, or enhanced landscaping? Is it A, improvements to the property? B, a decline in neighborhood crime rates? C, a rise in local unemployment? Or D, enhanced landscaping? The correct answer is C, a rise in local unemployment. Why this can be tricky? All options except a rise in local unemployment are typically positive influences on value. Higher unemployment can reduce demand, potentially lowering property values despite other improvements. Maria is considering buying a home next to a busy highway and asks her appraiser how the location might affect value. What should the appraiser explain? Is it A. The location may decrease the property's value due to noise and traffic? B. The location will always increase the property's value? C. The location has no effect on property value? Or D. The location only affects value if the property is commercial? The correct answer is A. The location may decrease the property's value due to noise and traffic. Proximity to a busy highway is generally considered a negative external influence, as noise and traffic can reduce desirability and thus lower property value. Property management. Property management agreements and duties. Which document outlines the specific responsibilities and compensation of a property manager when managing a rental property? Is it A. Property management agreement, B. Lease agreement, C. Deed of trust, or D. Disclosure statement? The correct answer is A. Property management agreement. A property management agreement is the contract that details the duties, authority, and compensation of a property manager. It is essential for clarifying expectations and protecting both the property owner and the manager. Which of the following is not typically a duty of a property manager under a standard property management agreement? Is it A. Collecting rent, B. Screening tenants, C. Performing major structural repairs, or D. Coordinating routine maintenance? The correct answer is C. Performing major structural repairs. Why this can be tricky. Some may assume all listed tasks are part of a manager's role, but property managers do not usually perform major structural repairs, which are typically the owner's responsibility. Maria, a property manager, receives a request from a tenant for a new appliance, but her management agreement does not authorize her to approve purchases over a certain amount without owner consent. What should Maria do next? Is it A. Approve the purchase immediately, B. Contact the property owner for approval, C. Ignore the tenant's request, or D. Purchase a less expensive appliance without approval? The correct answer is B. Contact the property owner for approval. Maria must follow the limits set in the management agreement and obtain the owner's approval before making purchases above the authorized amount, ensuring she does not exceed her contractual authority. Arizona landlord and tenant law terminology. What is the legal term for the written notice a landlord must give before entering a tenant's dwelling in Arizona? Is it A. Eviction notice, B. Lease addendum, C. Notice of entry, or D. Security deposit statement? The correct answer is C. Notice of entry. Arizona law requires landlords to provide tenants with advance written notice before entering the rental property, typically referred to as a notice of entry. This protects tenant privacy while allowing landlords to perform necessary duties. Which of the following is not considered a valid reason for an Arizona landlord to terminate a lease early? Is it A. Non-payment of rent, B. Personal dislike of the tenant, C. Illegal activity on the premises, or D. Significant property damage caused by the tenant? The correct answer is B. Personal dislike of the tenant. Why this can be tricky. Some reasons may sound plausible, but only specific legal grounds allow early termination. Personal dislike is not a lawful reason, while non-payment, illegal activity, and property damage are recognized causes under Arizona law. Under Arizona law, which statement about a tenant's right to withhold rent is accurate? Is it A, tenants may withhold rent for any maintenance issue? B, tenants can always withhold rent if they disagree with the landlord? C, tenants may withhold rent for cosmetic improvements? Or D, tenants may withhold rent if the landlord fails to address serious health or safety violations? The correct answer is D. Tenants may withhold rent if the landlord fails to address serious health or safety violations. Why this is tricky? Tenants cannot withhold rent for any reason. Only specific, legally defined situations allow it, such as unaddressed health or safety violations. Withholding rent for minor repairs or personal disputes is not permitted by law. Trust accounts and property management funds. Which of the following best describes the purpose of a trust account in property management? Is it A, to hold client and tenant funds separately from the manager's own funds? B, to pay the property manager's personal expenses? To invest client funds in the stock market? Or D, to store maintenance records for managed properties? The correct answer is A, to hold client and tenant funds separately from the manager's own funds. A trust account is used to hold client and tenant funds separately from the property manager's business or personal funds, ensuring proper handling and legal compliance. Which statement about commingling funds in a property management trust account is accurate? Is it A, commingling is allowed if the property manager keeps detailed records? B, commingling is prohibited because it mixes client funds with non-client funds? C, commingling is required by most state laws for convenience? Or D, commingling is only a concern for commercial properties? The correct answer is B. Commingling is prohibited because it mixes client funds with non-client funds. Why this can be tricky? The term commingling refers to mixing client funds with personal or business funds, which is strictly prohibited. Only client funds should be in the trust account, not the manager's own money. A property manager receives a security deposit from a new tenant and immediately deposits it into the company's operating account instead of the trust account. What is the main regulatory violation in this situation? B, charging an excessive deposit amount. Commingling client funds with business funds? Or D, delaying the deposit for more than 3 days? The correct answer is C, commingling client funds with business funds. Depositing tenant funds into an operating account is a violation because security deposits must be placed in a trust account to protect client money and comply with legal requirements. Transfer of title and settlement. Deeds and title concepts. Which type of deed provides the greatest protection to the grantee regarding the title to the property? Is it A, quitclaim deed? B, special warranty deed? C, general warranty deed? Or D, bargain and sale deed? The correct answer is C, general warranty deed. A general warranty deed offers the highest level of protection to the grantee because it guarantees the title against all claims, both during and before the grantor's ownership. Which of the following is not a requirement for a valid deed to transfer title? Is it A, a competent grantor? B, recording of the deed? C, delivery and acceptance? Or D, a legal description of the property? The correct answer is B, recording of the deed. Why this is tricky? All options seem plausible, but only delivery and acceptance, a competent grantor, and a legal description are required. Recording is not required for validity, only for public notice. Maria sells her home to David, and at closing, she signs a deed that only guarantees title against claims arising during her ownership. What type of deed did Maria most likely use? Is it A, special warranty deed? B, General warranty deed. C. Quitclaim deed. Or D. Trustee's deed. The correct answer is A. Special warranty deed. A special warranty deed only protects the grantee against title defects or claims that occurred during the grantor's period of ownership, not before. Escrow process and settlement statements. What is the primary purpose of an escrow account in a real estate transaction? Is it A, to provide financing for the buyer? B, to act as a neutral third party holding funds and documents? Or D, to transfer title directly from seller to buyer? The correct answer is B, to act as a neutral third party holding funds and documents. An escrow account is used to hold funds and documents on behalf of the buyer and seller until all terms of the agreement are met, ensuring a secure and neutral process for both parties. Which of the following is not typically the responsibility of the settlement agent during the closing process? Is it A, dispersing funds to the seller and other parties? B, ensuring all documents are properly signed and recorded? C, negotiating the purchase contract terms? Or D, preparing the final settlement statement? The correct answer is C, negotiating the purchase contract terms. Why this can be tricky. Settlement agents handle many tasks, but they do not negotiate contract terms. That is the role of the parties or their agents. The other tasks are standard settlement agent duties. If a seller receives the settlement statement and notices a charge they do not recognize, what is the best immediate action for the seller to take? Is it A, contact the settlement agent for clarification? B, refuse to sign any closing documents? C, contact the buyer to dispute the charge? Or D, ignore the charge if it seems minor? The correct answer is A, contact the settlement agent for clarification. Why this is tricky. Sellers may assume they should contact the buyer or lender, but the settlement agent is the correct party to address unexplained charges on the statement. Title insurance and recording. What is the primary purpose of recording a deed in the public records? Is it A, to guarantee the title is free of defects? B, to provide public notice of ownership transfer? C, to ensure the property taxes are paid? Or D, to create a new legal description for the property? The correct answer is B, to provide public notice of ownership transfer. Recording a deed provides constructive notice to the public of the ownership transfer, protecting the new owner's rights and establishing priority over subsequent claims. Which of the following is not typically covered by a standard title insurance policy? Is it A, undisclosed prior liens? B, forgery in the chain of title? Zoning changes after the policy is issued? Or D, errors in public records? The correct answer is C, zoning changes after the policy is issued. Why this can be tricky. Standard title insurance covers past defects, not issues like zoning changes or future government actions. Many confuse coverage for all risks with the limited scope of standard policies. If a deed is not recorded, which of the following statements is most accurate regarding its validity and enforceability? Is it A, the deed is valid between the grantor and grantee? B, the deed is automatically void? C, the deed cannot be enforced under any circumstances? Or D, the deed transfers no legal interest in the property? The correct answer is A, the deed is valid between the grantor and grantee. Why this is tricky. Many assume recording is required for validity, but a deed is valid between parties even if unrecorded. However, recording protects against third-party claims. Arizona real estate practice and ethics. Trust accounts and handling of client funds. What is the primary purpose of a trust account in Arizona real estate practice? Is it A, to pay office expenses? B, to hold client funds separately from broker funds? Or D, to pay commissions to salespersons? The correct answer is B, to hold client funds separately from broker funds. A trust account is used to hold client funds separate from the broker's business or personal funds, ensuring proper handling and safeguarding of client money as required by Arizona law. Which of the following is not permitted regarding the handling of earnest money in Arizona real estate transactions? Is it A, depositing earnest money into a trust account within the required time frame? B, returning earnest money to a buyer after a failed transaction with proper authorization? C, mixing client funds with broker's personal funds for 1 day before depositing? Or D, dispersing earnest money according to written instructions from both parties? The correct answer is C, mixing client funds with broker's personal funds for 1 day before depositing. Why this is tricky? All options may sound plausible, but Arizona law prohibits commingling client funds with broker funds, even temporarily. The other actions are allowed if done according to regulations. If a broker receives a rent payment from a tenant for a managed property, which of the following actions would violate Arizona trust account rules? Is it A, depositing the rent into the property management trust account? B, depositing the rent into the broker's personal checking account for 1 day? C, recording the rent in the trust account ledger on the same day as deposit? Or D, dispersing the rent to the property owner from the trust account after clearing? The correct answer is B, depositing the rent into the broker's personal checking account for 1 day. Why this may be tricky? It's easy to overlook that depositing rent into the broker's personal account, even temporarily, is a violation. The other actions are allowed if done properly and documented. Advertising rules and disclosures. Which of the following must be included in all real estate advertising by an Arizona licensee? Is it A, the licensee's personal phone number? B, the property owner's name? C, the employing broker's name? Or D, the listing price of the property? The correct answer is C, the employing broker's name. Arizona law requires that all real estate advertising by licensees clearly and prominently display the name of the employing broker. This ensures the public knows which brokerage is responsible for the advertisement. Which statement about advertising a property as for sale by owner is correct for an Arizona licensee who owns the property? Is it A, a licensee may advertise as for sale by owner without any additional disclosure? B, a licensee must disclose their license status in the advertisement. Only the broker's name must appear in the advertisement. Or D, no advertising rules apply if the licensee is the owner. The correct answer is B, a licensee must disclose their license status in the advertisement. Why this is tricky? Licensees must disclose their license status when advertising their own property, even if using for sale by owner. Failing to do so can mislead the public and violate disclosure rules. Which of the following is not required in an Arizona real estate team's advertisement? Is it A, the team name must be the most prominent feature? B, the employing broker's name must be clear and prominent? C, all advertising must avoid misleading the public? Or D, team members must not imply they are a brokerage? The correct answer is A, the team name must be the most prominent feature. Why this may be tricky? Team names can be prominent, but Arizona law requires the employing broker's name to be clear and prominent, not the team name. The team name itself is not a legal requirement. Professional conduct and prohibited acts. Which of the following actions is considered a prohibited act for an Arizona real estate licensee under professional conduct rules? Is it A, mixing client funds with personal funds, B, disclosing material facts to all parties, C, maintaining accurate transaction records, or D, presenting all offers to the seller? The correct answer is A, mixing client funds with personal funds. Arizona law prohibits licensees from commingling client funds with personal funds. This is a clear violation of professional conduct and can result in disciplinary action by the Arizona Department of Real Estate. Which statement about an Arizona real estate licensee's obligation to disclose conflicts of interest is not correct? Is it A, licensees must disclose conflicts of interest to all parties, B, disclosure of conflicts must be made in writing when possible, C, disclosure is only necessary if the client specifically asks about conflicts, or D, failure to disclose a conflict can result in disciplinary action? The correct answer is C. Disclosure is only necessary if the client specifically asks about conflicts. Why this can be tricky. The obligation to disclose conflicts of interest applies even if the client does not ask. Licensees must proactively disclose any potential conflicts to all parties involved in a transaction. A licensee in Arizona may lawfully accept compensation from which of the following sources? Is it A, directly from the buyer, B, through their employing broker, C, from any licensed real estate agent, or D, from the title company at closing? The correct answer is B, through their employing broker. Why this is tricky. Licensees may only accept compensation from their employing broker, not directly from clients or other brokers, unless the payment is routed through their broker, as required by Arizona law.
Thanks for watching. If you found this exam review helpful, be sure to subscribe for more real-world practice and topic-focused study videos. And visit birdsy.ai to start your free trial of Birdsy, your AI-powered study partner.